see myself sitting and cross-legged. It's not like the, it's not the ground. It's sort of like it's like this deep blue kind of a disc or something I'm sitting on, like a big disc. And
Okay,
I'm all kind of illuminated, like I'm all white light.
that's beautiful. Tell me more about what's happening. What do you see around you?
It feels like I'm kind of in some kind of a, I almost want to say a void because it seems kind of endless,
Okay.
but it's not that it's empty.
Do you sense others there with you?
Yeah, I want to, before, just as I was going in, I got this flash of an image of me with wings, like kind of like angel wings.
Okay,
And I
very
heard
good.
something like, "You are an angel," but I think I'm kind of fighting it a little bit with my mind.
Okay, let's relax for a moment. Let's take a breath. Okay. Let's just let the mind fall away. I want you to feel into that feeling, that idea of being an angel. Just allow it to take form. Just relax into it.
I feel that there are others kind of observing me, gathered around me, and I'm getting the word assignment,
Okay.
that I'm on assignment. I'm about to go on assignment.
Okay. Let's find out what that assignment is. Is there someone there who could tell us that? Or do you know already?
I think it's coming in a little at a time. I just have
Okay.
to go slowly.
Take your time. Remember, we're in the quantum field, so we're not working on linear time. Whenever it takes
I,
form.
I think I'm sitting there because I'm gathering energy to go.
Do you
That's
gather? Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
that's why I'm so like white. I'm kind of white, light, vibrating, and I'm collecting my energy to go down to the
Okay.
earth.
To the earth. Okay. This disc that you're sitting on, are you drawing your energy from that?
No, it's kind of, it's sort of like a launch pad
Ah,
of some kind. It's like it
that's great.
balances me. It helps me. It just assists me to
Okay.
pulling all that energy in, holding it enough so that when I go, I'm just sort of like this rocket, like whoosh, and I shoot down to the
Okay.
earth.
So as we sit in this place, who are the others around you? Do you know who these beings are?
They're other, they're like my brothers. They're it's I want to say that I'm on this place. It's like a star
Okay.
where angelic beings are. We're not actually, well, that is what the angels in the Bible were, but I'm not like humans think of as angels, biblical angels.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us
Um,
about the type you are? What
we're
kind?
just a very, well, we're all just very advanced. We're very high, maybe seventh density.
Uh-huh.
Um, or there's various densities. There's others that are higher than me. but we do is we serve, and so we look for the other place. There's other places besides Earth that we go, but Earth itself is just needs so much
Mm-hmm.
um, interaction. It just like we come and go there, and we're available, and we've been going through different. I can't think of the word that I want, but there's different levels that we've been allowed to interact on the earth, and it's changing as to how much we're allowed. So I'm actually circling back to who I am. Yes, I'm multidimensional on many levels. I exist in different places, but this is an aspect of me that's the angelic aspect. So when I came to Earth, I had these different aspects that came to Earth with me. So this is one aspect of my soul that is an angel, and Erin was aware of this back even like in the early 2000s. She became aware of this, but she wasn't sure what to think of it because it seemed like kind of a lot to say that, but she felt like that she was an earth angel, that she was
Mm-hmm.
here to assist people, to help them to heal their hearts and to see who they were, to find their own beauty and their purpose here. And that's what she was assisting with, that she came here. It's one aspect of her, but it's a very strong aspect.
Okay. Is this aspect the one that is speaking, the one that is known as Aaron now? Is this the aspect that we are speaking to?
Yes, this aspect is the angelic aspect of Aaron. So
Okay.
I am speaking from a higher view, uh,
Okay.
higher consciousness awareness of Aaron.
So as you prepare to embark on this mission, what is the task that you took on? What is it that you agreed to do when you come to Earth?
So I knew that I was coming into a body at a time that was very close to when huge changes would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've gone through various levels of this. So it's been ramping up for me too. In fact, there's a part of me that has to come back to my place of origin to confer with, to gather with other beings like me, and to share information, and to also to learn new um, new levels at which I have to go down there to interact with people. And
So,
slowly, part of what I'm doing is I'm helping Erin to access her highest levels and to pull all these. She has some powerful aspects to her, and we're pulling them. We're all coming together within her to open her awareness to actually how powerful she is, because part of her work here is to help other people return to that awareness, to reclaim it. There are many humans right now, many of the light workers, and also people that are very close to coming to that, up to that level, but it took them longer. It's taken them longer to awaken.
mhm.
And part of Erin's work on the planet is to first she begins activating people just by speaking and being with them from her heart. And then she begins doing it by just sharing her energy field where she moves. And then eventually she begins to herself embody these higher vibrational levels so that it's unmistakable to other people, but it also carries with it a wave that activates them. So it's not as in the older days when an angelic being would come into awareness of humans, they would sort of fall down before it as if to worship it. And that is done here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more separation. We're moving towards no more separation between those levels. It's not about a hierarchy anymore. That's a mental concept. Um, all of us are just constantly moving through the cycles, and some beings are at different levels than other beings, but the earth is coming to a place where we're understanding more and more about what that truly means, and not from an ego perspective and a separation perspective.
Very good. Thank you. So, what role does Erin's light language play in this mission that she's taken on?
Well, it's very much an activator, an awakener. It has within it the ability to assist people to clear, to release, to heal. But she is also able to take this with her wherever she goes. And if she's out in a public space and she uses light language, it actually ripples out. That's part of her beingness that she's carrying when she moves amongst the people.
Mm-hmm.
And she can be in any space and do it, and it affects out with a radius out around her that goes quite far. People do not have to actually hear the light language to receive the frequencies.
I see. Thank you. As far as being an angelic aspect, so many of us want to know more about that, about when you are not incarnated on Earth or assisting on another planet. Tell us more about you, about your life. What is it like to be that angelic aspect?
Well, this is hard to explain in human terms.
I'm sure it
It,
is.
it's at those densities, at those levels of frequency, we just are. We just be. We're directly connected to source. And there are different levels to that. Of course, there's it would not experience you would not experience it as density, but
Mhm.
for those beings, there's as they go down in levels, there's more density and less density as they go higher up, so that as they are higher in frequency, they become just more all encompassing, and
Okay.
they're able to be in multiple places at once.
So are are the angels and the angelics themselves just simply another form of an extraterrestrial life form, or how do they differ? What makes an angelic frequency different?
Hmm. That's difficult
That's
to
a difficult
explain.
question.
I
You
don't
don't
know
have
that
to
I
answer
have
it.
I don't know that I have, the human vocabulary is very limited
Uh-huh.
with how to explain this. Um,
Is it a
there
softer
are,
frequency or is it stronger than others? Um, I know some people always wonder about that. Like what exactly is an angel? Who
well,
is an angel?
we are extraterrestrial beings.
Mm-hmm.
There is a place that we reside that you would call our home. It's not a planet, it's a star,
Okay.
because it's farther evolved than a planet, and we we are there, um, and but we are close to the earth, which is why we have become very involved with the
Okay.
earth. And yeah, that because it's what we have chosen here is the service, the aspect of service.
Okay. Thank you. Do you carry a form, a specific form when you are at this home star?
No, we are light.
You're pure light. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. From your vantage point right now, as someone that's actively working with the planetary shift, what can you tell us about the stage we are at now on Earth, about the things that we're seeing occur? We know it's a chaotic time from the viewpoint of the human race.
There's a lot of fluctuation still.
Mm-hmm.
There are many factors involved with how this is unfolding. There is an absolute, uh, well, even that I can't say absolute. There is what many people are wishing and hoping for. There is an ultimate, what you would think of as positive. There really is no negative and positive in the
Mm-hmm.
highest level, but for the earth beings, you are going somewhere much more advanced, much more, so much beyond, so much less density and higher experience. You are going there, that is happening, but the route there has been shifting a lot. You're no longer, there are no longer any dark or negative timelines. That's not.
So
Now it's
those are
more,
gone.
now it's
Okay.
more like frequencies of how it unfolds. And it's a complicated thing because you may feel like you're all on the earth together, but in fact, at the same time, you all have your own reality, and your reality may bleed into other realities that are shared with people that you love, that you are in connection with, and yet each person has a unique reality to themselves. So there are multiple timeline experiences that can be chosen,
Okay.
and yet you can still experience in your timeline that your loved ones are there. And some of those loved ones may be choosing a timeline so much different than yours that they will split off.
How and when, I know you're not able to give dates. How far away do you feel we are as a whole from the time of that splitting apart of the timelines?
Well, again, there are multiple realities playing out.
Yes.
So but for those of you who are focusing on bringing this split in, you are focusing your energies and your hearts and your awareness there, it will be much sooner.
Mhm.
Everything is kind of, it's as if everything is vibrating like this. See how my hands are moving with it.
Yes.
It's vibrating and moving and changing, and so every now and then it comes into focus, and there's a focus, and everyone feels it, and they notice it, and it sources there in that moment, and it's attracting your attention, and it's somewhat helping to align more people, because the more people that are in alignment with a particular pathway, the faster that pathway unfolds.
Mhm.
But it's very difficult to reassure you on the levels you want to be reassured, other than to say it's all good,
Okay.
and that everyone, I know you've heard this so much and probably are tired of it, but you're exactly where you need to be.
Mhm.
You are exactly where you need to be, and the more you know that, the more quickly, the time is not linear, of course,
Right.
but the more you know that, the more you are aware that it is now.
Thank you. What what do you see happening with the issue of disclosure? And I don't just mean in a galactic sense. I mean disclosure of the things that have been happening behind the scenes on our planet with things that may not be so nice, but things that the people do need to know about. How do you see that playing out from the angelic perspective?
Well, there are a few different disclosure timelines. And the disclosure timelines also are affecting your timeline depending on how much energy you put into it. The
Mm-hmm.
more you are, the more desire you have for a certain outcome on the disclosure level,
Mm-hmm.
the more you will be anchored into that. So, for instance, there are people that are very, very much focused on the American patriot movement and
Mm-hmm.
that Trump will be president again and that the bad guys will pay and that the financial thing will come online in a certain way, and that holds a certain level of density to it. While it is far better than this one that we are in, it's going to also hold a certain level of density. So
Okay, I see
it
that.
will attract those people that are committed to that's where they believe they're limited to. And but they're choosing it because it feels to them like it's right.
Okay. And so
So
that's what they will manifest. That timeline will
yes,
become a reality for them.
yeah.
What um, what do you see, in your opinion, as the ultimate timeline? What would you advise us to really place our focus on right now to manifest the very highest outcome without the density?
Well, it's important to less and less allow yourself. So yes, it's important too for yourself. Come into your heart, into your center, and feel what that feels like, what it is that you want. So there's different levels to that too, because some of you want to be on a much higher density that you're
Mm-hmm.
connected to your galactic family and
Yes.
that you're less and less connected to the earth itself. And that will manifest for you if that is what you spend more
Okay.
and more time aligning with, and you can still be of service. You can still be of service to people on the earth at that density, but less and less and less will you be involved directly with them on their level of density.
I
So
see what
that,
you're saying. Yes.
and to know that you can still be of great service as you pull away from
Mm-hmm.
that more and come into your own energy field
Yes.
that's holding your intention.
So,
And
oh,
yeah,
go on. I'm sorry.
no, no, that's all right. I was about to shift to another place, so ask me what.
So for those of us, for example, that envision reunions with our galactic family, for those of us that know that's something that we would consider our ultimate destination, or for example, the highest expression or timeline of 5D Earth, this utopian, beautiful place, as long as we are committed and genuinely believe that that is our chosen reality and we work on and we manifest that every day, that is our focus, then that is where the timeline will take us.
Yeah, yes. And
That's good.
it's, it is still affected by the pull of other things.
Mm-hmm.
But many of you are slowly letting go
Right.
of your heart ties, and doesn't mean that your heart is not still connected,
Mm-hmm.
but that part that's attached.
Yes. It's coming to a realization, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, of you come to a realization that each family member or close friend has their own chosen reality, their own chosen path, and it's an issue of respecting that, would you say, for people?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because
That's
it's just a loss of energy to get too involved and to try and convince or try to steer someone. What you can do is just continue to model a certain vibration, and those that are have that within their blueprint to choose that
mm-hmm.
will come on board with that just through your offering that vibration. But
Okay.
that may not be what they are choosing. So
Exactly. But
it can
again,
be very
respecting their choice.
yes, and it's complicated because you are still, you have an ego. You have an ego still that you're connected
Mhm.
with, and you're not in the negative way, just in the way that it makes you human still, and it can be distracting. And there also are some people that have an actual agreement or contract that they may not be aware of yet. So they may think that they are going to
Ah.
this place, and yet they have made an agreement, and that is still there for there just to maybe just a few more things for them to finish,
Mhm.
to accomplish. So there are waves of who is moving into this next level. There are different waves of that, and everyone is going there except for
Yes.
those beings that are not a lot of them, many of them are not even human, even if they have managed to incarnate in a human body.
Tell us more about that. That's a fascinating subject. What can you share about that? That's a difficult concept for people to wrap their head around.
What that there are other
Non-human are just people that aren't
well,
even alive. That
yes, there's
concept. Yeah.
well they are there are actual souls that are at much lower density,
Hmm.
and there are archontic beings, energy beings that have a very low vibration, that are able to come here, that have been here for a long time manipulating things. Some of them actually manage to embody, although that level of dark frequency can't stay in a body very long,
Hmm.
and which is why they've come up with these terrible options that involve the children, to try to keep being able to be in that body, because for them also time is not linear, and they want to be able to, but you can't do that on a 3D earth.
Hmm.
So they want to be able to keep embodying and to keep doing what their plan is.
Hmm.
And they've been in this battle with us for a very long time, and they have all they believe that they are going to take this and own it, but that is falling away faster and faster, and they are less and less able to do what they've been doing here, and they're less able to manipulate and control. And so they're not something to be afraid of. It's difficult as a human to not be fearful of something that is at a very dark vibration, and
Hmm.
especially when it manifests in things that feel like the stuff of nightmares, of
Right.
of bad dreams and punishment and pain, and but they are fast losing their capacity to do that. And though it is still at a place where they can affect you, unless you are continually in alignment with knowing that you are more powerful than that.
Hmm.
We're in a kind of a risky between place right now, where people can feel some of the density lifting and feel things up leveling, but we still are not there. Many of us are in 4D, but it's a middle level 4D. We
Hmm.
still have to be vigilant about continually clearing ourselves, continually
Yes.
pulling the light in and through, and owning our own power, that
Hmm.
we are not vulnerable, we are not available to these outside forces.
Absolutely. There has been some some talk of influxes periodically of walk-ins coming in where people are choosing to leave the planet, but there are going to be large amounts of walk-in souls coming in. Is this true to
I think
assist?
some of that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that, it is true that there are some walk-ins coming into parents to protect the children.
Mm-hmm.
Or well,
That's good
in
to know.
general, it is there are it is coming in at that level. Whoever they're coming into, it's as part of the transition right now
Mm-hmm.
to assist with one of the things that has changed is in the higher levels, there's been a hands-off agreement for a long time, but it is partly because it has not been understood the extent to which humans have been so deeply programmed and manipulated and controlled to the extent of which they're not, many of them are not even able to make choices anymore from who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is supposed to be a free will universe, but in fact, it became the free will of the manipulators.
It does seem that way. That's a really good way of looking
So
at it.
source energy is beginning to intervene now, and
Ah,
we still have to be respectful of personal choice, but we are allowed to go in to those people that have just been very much cut off so that it's they're so cut off from their higher selves that the higher self can't actually get in there to assist them. And so there are walk-in higher energies coming in to be there long enough, just long enough for these people to make better choices, particularly where it involves innocent beings like the
the
children or
children.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
Also, animals, especially pets, animals that have
Yes.
been very much taken on human aspects and merged with humans be out of love.
So our pets tend to merge their energies with us? Is that very common?
Well, and I'm speaking in terms of relationship,
Oh, okay.
love. Pets are tend to be pretty they're completely unconditional in their love,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on the pet too. It's not across the board, but there are pets who have reincarnated with that human over and over again.
Yes, I have one of those with me.
Yes, and
Yeah,
because they are pure unconditional love, and because they have chosen to be in the body of an animal and not a human, they don't have the same free will that humans do, and
that's
so they
true.
are considered innocent as children, small children are, so that at this point we're in the end game, and those beings can be assisted. So the
Okay,
animals will be assisted through their owners, who those souls have been completely disconnected from their higher self and their higher awareness. Those walk-ins can come in.
I
And
see how
it
that would
has to do
work.
with certain longer term agreements also.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lineage of that soul that has been at some point in agreement with that being possible.
Okay, I see. Are people able to change their chosen path or the agreements that they may have made initially upon
Yes,
reincarnating?
yes,
Okay, they
yes,
can.
because some of those agreements, well, some of the agreements were made in situations where they actually were coerced
Uh-huh.
or they were unaware of what that agreement meant. But there are even some higher level agreements that were made in at higher density levels because the nature of change, source creates and creates and creates, and then things that source created create.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have the smaller level of creators here, what you would call God. There are lower level creators. The God in the Bible was an actual creator, but the Old Testament God was more of a manipulator and controller, and then Jesus, the Christ, is an aspect of a creator being that brought in the unconditional love aspect. So where I'm going with this is that there are dimensions to that also. So you may have made a high contract at one level of your
Mm-hmm.
higher being, But because things are changing and because things are shifting and there's new things unfolding through source consciousness and through the hierarchy that has come down in terms of the levels of beings with a consciousness, it's all
Mhm.
changing. So you can come into a body and then you can now, at this point, choose a different contract.
That's good to know. That's good to know for people who are conscious of that. Thank you.
I don't know if I made that clear. It's a
It was,
complex thing.
it is, it's hard to verbalize a lot of this because the concepts don't translate well into language on at least our language, which is quite limited. Um, Back to the subject of angels, which really does fascinate the human race. Angels are depicted as having wings. Is that actually a physical characteristic, or is it what exactly? How did that come to be? And if you could explain more about that.
Wings are energy, the energy streamers. Now,
Okay.
when the original angels were seen on the biblical angels that
Yes.
came in that were recorded that
Mm-hmm.
those that was a time on the planet when many things were being seen that you do not see anymore, that there were light ships, and
Yes.
the star at the birth of the Christ was a light ship.
Yes.
And the angelics are these energy forms that come in, but partly they also manifested with a somewhat human. When they first came in, actually, they were so they were too much for humans, and humans couldn't process what they were. So they began to adjust that. These angelics realized that they had to present themselves in a way that these humans, because humans at that time, many things had shifted on the earth out of the old Lemurian and even Atlantean energies. We had gone down even farther, that humans had gone to a lower density. So they
Right.
were not able to perceive those angelic beings, was just too, what you would
It's
say,
too much.
mind blowing
Yeah.
for them. So the angelic energies began to manifest in more human forms.
Okay.
And initially they also read what was in the minds of the humans, and they saw that the only way the humans could comprehend these energies and see these streamers coming out would be like wings, and that was somehow a soothing image.
Mm-hmm.
Humans love the birds,
Yes, it is a
and
soothing image.
we
That's
watched the birds fly. Especially then, there were no airplanes, there were no flying machines, so humans would fantasize about what that must be like to be a bird with wings. And so then these energy streamers took on the form of these big wings, because and also humans always had a part of them that wished to be like an angel.
yes.
So they loved that concept fit. It really worked for the human mind to see this mighty human form in robes with wings, and that felt like it settled in the human heart to have
Mm-hmm.
that relationship.
That's beautiful. That's a really beautiful explanation of the history of where our imagery of angels comes from. What else would you like to share about the angelic kingdom? I know there are many levels that we've been told. There are many levels, such as the archangels. There are angels that have specific focus in our lives. What could you share about that?
That is partly through a human creation, because
Okay.
that's what humans, they need something like that. They need a structure and a hierarchy in the way they form those ideas. It just helps them to understand from that mind place, from the analytical mind, how those energies can interact with them. So,
Okay.
so yes, there's different representational energies that come through that affect humans in different ways and work
Mm-hmm.
on the earth, because angels are also assisting with the earth herself, and particularly more with the animals and with earth creations that have a certain level of consciousness. But for humans, They just need to understand how to compartmentalize and create, an understanding for themselves of what those things are.
Okay, thank you. It's been said that, and again, it seems to me that it's another form of galactic energy, and but it's something that's very dear to the human heart.
Yes.
Also, yeah, people have had more of an opportunity to interact. It feels safer in a way. So, thank you very much. What other information can you give us about the earth changes on the planet? We've been having some crazy weather, some crazy events. Gaia seems to be really shaking around a bit right now. Um, can you tell us anything about what's going on? Anything that you feel the people should know?
There's a combination of things happening at different levels of density. There are still actual 3D activities going on under the Earth's surface that have to do with the military destroying bases.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are happening. And but because we're we really are in a time of transition, massive
Yes.
transition. We're just at the beginning of that. Those activities are affecting the Earth herself too. It's some of those bases, when they are taken down, are releasing a lot of very dense in terms of pain and
Mm-hmm.
suffering that has happened in those places and in the dark intentions. Those are being released out into the Earth, and the Earth has to also adjust herself to clear and release that energy.
I was going to say, where does that energy go ultimately?
So it comes in the form of the earthquakes
Mm-hmm.
and the elements as well are affected because that energy rises off the earth also, and
Mm-hmm.
those dark, they're like miasms of energies, and the elemental forces and beings are also working alongside the angelic forces to transmute that energy, but it affects the weather. There really is not as much any more manipulated weather happening. That
Okay.
absolutely was happening, but a much of that has been dismantled and stopped. However, there are still strange weather patterns happening because of all the changes and the releases and the miasms that have to be transmuted, and as well as an occasional influx of higher light or bright energy coming into it. We are receiving solar energy from both this earth, the earth sun, and the great central sun, to assist people and to continue to wake up to. It's a battle. This is a
Mm-hmm.
battle right
It
now
is.
in earth terms.
Uh-huh.
That's an earth word for it, but it's many energies interacting and sometimes colliding and impacting, and so it creates chaos, what you feel as chaos. And so it's important to remind yourselves that that's all that's happening is you are shifting to a much better place. But
Yes.
things have to be, there are certain things that have to be
Mm-hmm.
deconstructed and
Right.
removed and taken down, and it affects different people different, it affects you to the degree of which you're able to hold light.
Right. I understand. Thank you very much. That's all very valuable information that you've shared with us today. So, at the time of the ascension, when Erin moves forward onto fully onto a physical 5D timeline, do all these aspects of her consciousness merge together into one place, or how does that work if we have aspects operating in different places, doing different things?
again, that this is a complex thing
I'm
to
sorry.
explain. No, they're very intelligent questions and very interesting
Things
for
people are
people.
wondering about. Yeah,
It's
it's
just
a
very
curious
difficult.
thing.
It's difficult to. I'll do my best. So
For example, to make it easier, are there going to be several errands embodying these different aspects out there, or do we come together into into one merged
we,
whole?
well, we already are. But
Okay.
what will happen is that you will have a better understanding of it. You will have
Okay.
more awareness in your daily activity, which will
Mhm.
look very different in 5D
Yes.
than it does here. But in your beingness, you will be fully aware of all those aspects. And you will be able to, as you are going about creating and being
Hmm.
and in that realm, you will be able to draw in we can let's put it in 3D terms. So you're on this new earth and you want to create this amazing home. You want to create a
Yes.
physical dwelling to be in, and you're
Hmm.
still somewhat attached to your earth memories of that. So you're creating a certain kind of a structure, but you
Right.
also know that it can go so far beyond what you originally ever knew. So you will begin pulling in streamers of information from these other aspects. You will hone
Okay.
in on an aspect of you that holds that information that you would like to have access to, and you pull that in to create with. Now
I see.
that this is 5D density up to
Uh-huh.
maybe 5, 6, maybe 7. And if you go up higher, you are beyond, then you're aware that your source. It's
Hmm.
not even about aspects
Ultimately,
anymore.
yeah.
It's source. So those are these levels,
Okay.
which, that we all as beings will navigate up and down that ladder too, because
Hmm.
we move up and down ultimately. Maybe it takes thousands and thousands of years before you decide to come back down in density, but that's just the nature of beingness.
Hmm. I see. Can you share more about, we were talking about dwellings, for example, in 5D. Can you share more about what you see that looking like, how people will live, just some positive things for people to look forward to?
Well, it depends on which
Which timeline?
timeline.
Mhm. Let's
If
start
you're
at the top. How about the ultimate, the highest one, where we're almost to 60? How's that look? We'll do the top and the
Well,
bottom.
that level, there's really no body. You're just light,
You're
pure light
light at
bodies.
that
You're light.
stage.
I wouldn't
Okay.
even use the term light body. You're
Mm-hmm.
light, and that is hard to explain in human terms.
Yes.
I can't. It's not something I can really do justice to.
Right.
Um, but let's use the example of the a very commonly held general idea of what the new Earth is by the bigger segment of the population right now
Mm-hmm.
is a really new Earth, not new Patriot Earth, which
No,
is
I don't see
the
that one.
next
That's
level
not,
of
yeah,
no,
that
but
is one choice. Yes, but
yes. So new Earth in terms of
hmm,
the next the Earth herself now has ascended
right.
to a
She's
higher
up there.
density
Hmm.
altogether. So in that density, Earth is completely alive. It's in human terms, an easy way to represent it would be similar to the movie Avatar,
Okay. That's an
where
easy one for people to
those
visualize.
beings, where you could see in that place, it was so lush and alive, and
Lots of nature.
everything was alive. So
Right.
you have that awareness, you have the understanding that there is consciousness in everything and that you are in communion with everything at all times. And yet you're also able to pull your discernment in to focus on a certain stream of information and then
Hmm.
what you're doing. But you are also able to go in and out at will and at ease of all of it, being in all of it. However, you are still in you're able to go between a body, an embodiment, and a light body. So the longer that you will also move through levels. When you first arrive there, you will be more
Hmm.
attached to a human physicality, but it will be much a higher vibration.
Right.
It'll feel completely different than this embodiment does. There
That's
won't
good.
be no
The
aches and
heaviness.
pains. No
Yeah.
aches and pains, no heaviness, no,
No disease,
so
nothing like that.
but you can use that body in the most amazing, magnificent way that bodies were intended to be used, and your DNA is fully plugged in and aware.
We will be able
And
to travel interdimensionally, galactically at that point.
probably not immediately, but you will quickly go there. And again, it depends on your
Hmm.
focus. It depends
Right.
on what you are calling in for yourself. Some people will be very much doing that because that's their focus. Other people will be in very focused on communing with the earth herself and the animals and the
Right.
plants and creating things on the earth and ways for humans to interact there. And there will be people who do both. That like they're multitaskers, so they like to do both. They and perhaps those people will be council members
Hmm.
for tribes of people on the earth, and that will be a beautiful creation because people will come together and create communities in align with those people that are in a specific alignment. People who, for instance, artists or musician types will come
Hmm.
together. Or
Okay.
there are people that like to build, they like to construct and create physical things that are of use. They will come together. There will be
That's
or people
wonderful.
that so there's all the human capacity for awareness and creation is vast, and you have been shut off from your original
Hmm.
abilities on that level.
Yes.
So,
So, and it would be more of a barter system, just caring for the group as a whole rather than needing money and that type of thing.
well, that's in that level, New Earth 5D, there is no, yes, there is no money, but
Hmm.
it's not even so much a physical bartering because things are less and less physical. You can do that for fun. You can
Right.
say, "Oh, look, I made this beautiful vessel to put your food in, and I love that instrument you made there. Let's
Okay.
exchange." It's more of a true energy exchange
Okay.
because you will have all your basic needs just ca- taken care of.
Hmm.
You have free energy, in terms of anything you would want to. Then that's completely different too. You will be for light. Say you need light inside your dwelling at night.
Hmm.
That comes from an organic creation.
Yes.
It's not created that where it has to use resources that are taken from the earth to make it function, which is a very imbalanced way. It's
Hmm.
a there you will in fact that's going to will be the joy of being there because you will have unlimited potential to create.
Right.
Your imagination can come up with all kinds of amazing possibilities because you are creator gods.
And everyone will remember that it's what they are. And our days will be spent doing things that we want to do, that are enriching to the soul and of
Yes. Yeah.
benefit. Exactly. That's something I think that's one of the best things to look forward to
Yes.
as we work towards this goal. So in order to get to this place, I would
I
imagine.
do want to I want to add
Oh,
one more
okay.
thing though.
Yes.
But I want to be clear that there are transitional areas. So some people may have a hard time wrapping their mind around shifting from this to that.
Yeah.
Some people won't. Some people have already done so much work on expanding their light that it's not that big of a jump to go there. But for
Hmm.
those people who feel like that's even hard for them to comprehend, but they know they want
Hmm.
something much better than, say, the Patriot timeline, as one example, or the disclosure timeline of getting justice, the justice timeline.
Well,
You
Archangel
know,
Metatron spoke to us through a session at one point where what he said was there's multiple 5D timelines and to visualize them like going upstairs, like there's steps. And right. And the timelines that don't differ tremendously from this one, the timelines where there would still be leaders and politics and currency would be those first steps that people can choose if they want to. And it was also said to us that there would be many light workers whose vibration would be compatible with the higher realms, but that would stay behind on those lower timelines as healers to help and to work. Is that what Erin is going to be doing?
Erin is probably going to be in the very next level. You know, she
Okay.
sometimes fluctuates a little bit of that
Yeah,
because
I know she's a helper.
she's confused about her family is her main.
Yeah, so many are.
Her soul blueprint is very much about relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so the humans that she is in relationship with she feels very attached to, but she's been gradually letting go of that more and more because there
Right.
are many beings to help in that reality.
There are
And
so many.
and Erin's heart would like to be she would be willing and interested in spending there's a between place between that level and the higher new earth thing I was just previously speaking of,
Right.
that is a movement towards that higher where it's still a very pleasurable experience because Erin has also wished for a time really physically embodied where she feels very vital in her ability to like very kind of like a super athlete would feel,
Right.
but not needing to be an athlete, but
But
feeling
powerful. Yeah.
because there is a very much value in that very high level of a physical embodiment, and there are things to teach in other places from that experience. And part of that dragon lifetime that came back to her with
Yes.
Darren
Yes.
was that on that star, those beings that were working directly with the shamanic
Right.
path, and
That was beautiful.
all the tribes on that star they held the physical as much more sacred than we do here. I mean,
Okay.
they treated their bodies very differently than here. They did treat it as say top athletes would, but without the pushing hard to the body of like some athletes overdo that and are
Yes.
out of balance with it. But
Hmm.
it's a sacred embodiment, and they were able to use their body as a channel for healing energy and use their body with their vision. They could actually literally see blindfolded, not that they had to, but because it was an amazing experience to play with all those edges and experiment with those things. And then
Hmm.
the joy, the physical joy of some of the animals on that star, including the dragons riding on a dragon, or riding on these beasts and communion with those beasts. That was the physical part. So there's a part of
Right.
Aaron that really wants to experience that again. So
Hmm.
there is a transitional thing between just the next little up level here that's going to happen
Hmm.
and the people that choose that on the justice timeline and that kind of thing. There's a next place that's really is about the physical and the earth itself and physically experiencing the earth, but with nowhere near the limitations because will also have the ability to interact with the elements
Right.
to actually affect weather, how weather
Ah.
is, and so that Erin will be able to, for instance, be in community, like create a garden that's a magnificent garden because she is completely tuned into the soil and to the seeds and to the elements that create that thing. And she can put her DNA into those vegetables and the DNA of her family and friends so that those are specific to each person's need.
Wow. That's wonderful. That is
And
amazing.
so that is something she would love teaching to people that are coming along up on the next little higher
That's
level.
important. Yes.
And
That's really sounds like it would be really fascinating
yeah,
to
so
be involved in.
it's a transitional thing.
Hmm.
And she can decide too. She will have the ability to decide how long she wants to be there. It's not here. We're still feeling confused and lost. We can't really fully see
Right.
how long it's going to be because time is confusing. Time there will not be linear. It will be just somewhat still in the memories of those humans there, but it will not have the hold on us, and we'll have the freedom to move more circularly through time in a
So
connected.
that brings me to a question that a lot of people have. Um, a big concern people have, again, is family choosing different timelines, family not being able to choose a higher timeline. There's just so many factors going on. As far as the memory, if, for example, family members either by choice or not, or because they can or can't go to varying timelines, will they all remember, or will that be blocked somehow? Will there be grief? How do you see that playing out? What can you tell people who are concerned about that? Because that is something that's talked about quite often.
The lower the lower the level of their density is, the less they will remember.
The less they will remember.
The
And
less they will
then,
remember. So those that it sorts itself out because if they are staying for whatever
mhm,
reason, their soul is choosing to be on a little bit lower, more dense timeline, they don't have to experience so much the separation. That it will be more like a dream.
where
It will
they
be
dreamed these people, but they
a
don't
dream
really.
of a time that was very dark, but also a
Ah,
time, but also that there were beings there that were light. And those beings may come into their dreams, and those people may also be on their own gradual timeline of up leveling. And the more they
okay.
up level, the more they will remember, but it won't have to be so painful.
Okay. And then the people on the higher timelines will have a better understanding of what happened in
Yes.
general.
Yes, because
Okay.
that's part of the
That's
awareness
good.
and the learning.
That's good to know. And then can the people on the higher timelines go back and visit these people on the lower timelines that were part of their lives? Or is that something that they would just have to wait for them to ascend to that level before they see them again?
On the you mean on the lower fifth density timelines?
Well, starting with that, yes. For example, if family members are on the higher timelines and others are on the lower, is there an intermixing where people?
Once at fifth density, things are not as separated. You have more ability to see and be aware. So
Mhm.
how some people here can see spirits, it will be
Yes.
like that only for more people.
Okay.
It's not that we will physically manifest in front of them. There may be some that have
Right.
that capacity, but we will be clear. They will be able to see us and feel us and hear us.
Okay. That's good to know. And what about the people who unfortunately will remain on old Earth on the 3D timeline? That it's been said they would need to repeat the 26,000
Yeah,
year
so
cycle. How does
it
it
would be,
work for them?
well, it would be basically the same because that's at a level of density and disconnect. Then
Mhm.
again, there may be some of those that are farther along than others who
Right.
have some ability, more ability, because there are also people who have chosen the 3D who are choosing to be teachers at that level,
Ah, okay.
just like
Yes.
we have had them here.
Hmm.
So, and as we move up, there are always a blend
Hmm.
anywhere you're going as you're evolving until you get up to the very, very high densities.
Yes.
There's always an intermixing because there's always beings that is their work, that's their beingness is to activate, to teach, to activate, to um enlighten, so that's what the
Hmm.
work that they are doing. All there is love.
It's true.
That is the ultimate
That's a
ultimate
great message.
place. If I were
Yeah.
because to address all of humanity, there's so many different
There are
kinds
so many.
of humanity, but in every single one, even the one that is in the darkest place, the answer is love.
Thank you. That's beautiful. That's pretty much what we need to know.